Welcome back to 13C. Today we're answering the age-old question, what's in the box? So this is the Agile 52 from SecureIt Tactical. This is a gun cabinet and it ships in flat packed via UPS. Now this is supposedly a 105-pound gun cabinet. The shipping label on it actually has it listed as 136 pounds for its shipping weight. So just to throw that out to you, if you're looking to move this thing in and out, it comes standard UPS. I was checking out my security cameras. It was one UPS regular size truck that dropped us off here today, and one driver who got it out here and up onto the porch. He used a different looking dolly than I normally see. Normally I don't see our normal. It wasn't our normal UPS guy either. It was someone else who came out, but. For what it's worth, that's it. It ships in a nondescript box, as you can see here. Looking at the sides, you can't tell what it is. So if you had this thing delivered and it sat outside your house, could be a workbench or anything else in there. So if you're looking to keep things discreet, it's nice to see that it comes discreetly packaged. I don't know, that's about it. Let's break this guy down, start assembling it, and get it up. So here we are with the finished project. Now, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel as far as assembly videos go. SecureItTactical.com has one on their website, but I am going to walk you through this really quickly with a few pictures we'll roll in while I'm talking here. So basically the instruction manual is pretty straightforward. In order to assemble this, you are going to need a 10mm wrench. That's the only tool you need. Technically, you just need this. I used a socket wrench as well because being able to ratchet back and forth and spin them on tightly and cinch them down with this saves you a lot of time. You could just get away with this if you wanted to. Be advised, if you're going to use a socket wrench, the depth here for your which bolts are going to be on the front here is going to be too short for this to negotiate one of these in here. Even with a short one, I have the extension on here just so I didn't whack my knuckles as I went around there. You don't need an extension obviously, but you're going to need one of these for what's along this front lip here, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get in there and get it done. So there you go. As far as that's concerned, the rest of it goes together very easily. I did this completely by myself with the exception of Mrs. 13C held this front top part on here when I was putting this front door on here. I could have put my shoulder into it and held it up myself, but she was walking by. She's kind enough to stop and lend me a hand for this. You could completely build this cabinet by yourself. Most people could, if you're older or something like that, if you're not quite as strong. This front door is a little bit heavy and awkward when it's on there, holding it in place. If you're trying to do it, you don't want that come crashing down on you. And honestly, when I asked Ms. 13C for help here, while I bolted this front thing on here, the biggest thing I was worried about was not me, but dropping it on this tile. If I cracked the tile putting this thing together, my wife would have been pissed. This isn't going to live here, by the way. I'm just putting it here because I need the room to be able to assemble it, as well as at least be able to talk to you guys and show you what's going on in here versus where this is going to live. It's going to be in a tight enclosure here, unless I wind up getting some add-ons for this at some point to actually build out kind of more of a weapons rack, if you will. That would be in enclosed containers, which is a pretty neat setup. They have a quad setup where you take another smaller cabinet, stack it on top, and you put another on the side. Technically, you could expand this out infinitely, theoretically, because you just bolt onto each other as they go. We'll get into some of the pros and cons if you want in a minute, as far as a gun cabinet versus a traditional safe, back and forth. It comes with 6 of these. We're going to show you how to put these in here. Basically, it's got some bungee on it to secure the top of your rifles if you want. We'll see how these go in there. Hopefully you don't have to use these bungees on the top here. They're just extra. And then on the base, it comes with 3 of these panels, and they have little locking parts. You can actually lock it together. They connect up together and they'll sit in the bottom. We're going to walk you through that as well. Otherwise, this is pretty straightforward to put together. Time-wise, it took me about an hour, give or take a few minutes, as far as unpacking out of the box. This thing's packed pretty well. I don't see any dents, scratches, or anything else on it. They have little balsa wood inserts, as well as tons of bubble wrap and foam inserts, and as well as styrofoam, which works out pretty well to keep this thing intact. There's no scratches or dents in it. So anyway, let's get you guys inside here and show you what's going on. To open it up, it comes from the factory with a code of 111111. Hit the pound button, goes green, turn it, and in you go. The instruction manual here shows you how to set the code, so it's pretty straightforward information on that. I'm going to reset that. Before you set this up in here, what you'll want to do in the back here is where your 9-volt battery goes. So you'll want to take a 9-volt battery, stick it in there, and then assemble it. That way it'll actually work. You have to buy your own 9-volt battery. I have plenty laying around the house here. That's something to keep in mind if you're getting one of these. You're going to need to have one of those before you build this thing together. Technically, I guess you could build it and then just use the enclosed key here. Comes with a couple keys. This panel here, you can unscrew it, drop down, stick your key in there and turn it. I'll roll some footage of me doing that, but it's pretty straightforward. It looks like these may be individually keyed because there's numbers on here. So it seems like there may be a number of different keys. One key wouldn't open all of them. Anyway, there you are. There's those levers in the back. We're going to kind of zoom in here and show me putting these in here. They're very, pretty straightforward, but we'll do that and then show you some options to organize inside here. We need to take care of about 30 seconds worth of housekeeping really quick because the questions keeps coming up about why aren't we getting your notifications. You're not getting notifications because about 2 months ago, YouTube pretty much wiped all the notifications from subscribers, especially here with us. So if you haven't done it in the past 2 months, go ahead, click that bell that's next to the subscribe button, and then you'll get our notifications. It's a great time also if you're not subscribed, hit that button. It's one of the best ways you can support us is by subscribing, liking, and commenting. That we really appreciate that. Speaking of which, we got a strike recently, so it's more important now than ever if you guys would sign up for our email list. We don't send more than 1 email a week. Normally it's 1 every 10 days. Just to keep you guys informed about new reviews, videos that are out, articles, stuff like that. And if we do get banned, here's a great way to stick with us because they won't ban us from that. At least I don't think they will. I don't know how they could, but it'll keep us in contact with you so you can see where we're moving in the future. We are on full30.com as well right now. We're live over there, so it's a great place to follow us as well if you're not already. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe. That's the best way to support us. Also, if you want to, people want to support us in other ways. We don't have a Patreon, but you can go over to our swag shop. We have patches that match the ones that you see me wearing from time to time, as well as a subdued version. We've got one of our alternate logo as well, and then we do some collaborations with some other companies as well for some unique products. A great way to help support us and get a little something back in return. Anyway, let's jump right back into this, and I've taken up enough of your time. Thanks for listening. So setting this guy up is going to actually be pretty easy. Master Chief here helping out. Yeah, what do you think, buddy? So setting this guy up is going to actually be pretty easy here. Like I showed you before, dropping in the cradles and stuff's pretty easy. I've done a few different things here. It's one of the longest actually guys that I have here. This is actually a air rifle on this far end here that I did a review on. 22 caliber pellet getting pushed at 1,000 feet per second. The lead-free ones go like 1,200 feet per second. It's crazy. If you're not into some of that stuff and you're curious about it, we'll be doing more videos on that in the future. But anyway, that's one of the longest ones I've got. It's got a scope on it as well, so it's kind of pushed off. Old school here with the Mosin. A little newer here with your standard type AR. CMMG Mutant here. And then right here is my Galil Ace pistol. You guys have seen a lot of this. Great handy little guy. Honestly, in the home defense repertoire now, as far as one of my go-tos to grab Olight PL Valkyrie on there. This is actually a really cool setup, RS Regulate Rail. If you haven't seen the video on these different things, definitely go ahead and check them out. This is a really awesome package, and I love this setup. Really nice and compact for home defense. Actually need to change out this muzzle device and get a can on here permanently at some point since we're going to be using it for that. What I've done here, and actually took one of these, broke it off of the thing, and you won't even have to use this in here, but these are angled, and I wanted to talk to you about how they're angled here so that they actually lift the butt of the rifle back some to help rock it back. You do not, and I'm using the bungee on this one. I'm not using the bungees on the other, and I took the bungee off one of them just so you can see they come on and off. I can put it back on, but it'll lean your rifle back toward the actual cradle there that it leans into. As I was putting this together, I thought to myself, why in the world are they, like, you can screw that down so you can't bounce, won't bounce back and forth. I thought, why in the world would you need that? And then it dawned on me, this would actually make a great, if you had, a small well, decent sized boat anyway, where you actually had a cabin in it, like sleeping quarters. You could actually mount this thing and bolt this thing into the boat carefully. Obviously, you don't want to drill holes in the bottom of the boat, whatever. But my point is that you could put this in here, and this system, once it's bolted down, you have all this stuff tweaked down to where it should be. This thing could pitch and roll as you sailed, lake, ocean, whatever you're doing, and it would hold your rifles in place. Obviously, if you're going to other countries, check your laws, all that stuff. I'm not a lawyer. But that's one of the aspects I would think where some of this would come in handy. Obviously, this thing's here in the house. Strapping stuff down probably isn't that important, not for me anyway, but you may find it there, it's included. What I did here was actually took a 50 cal ammo can on this side just to show some versatility here. You could actually put this down on top of some ammo or whatever else you wanted. And then you could, obviously you don't even have to use these if you didn't want to, but I just put it on here. Put it on there. I put a little bit of that bubble wrap that came with it on there to keep it from sliding around while I did this, just to show you guys. Anyway, so this will actually close with this setup in here. So this is the low mount on here for this Holosun, and then a 30 round AR mag in here. So it will actually close the door. Now, if you have anything really longer than a flat red dot like that, and you're running a setup, like on this one, I have the co-witness, so you can co-witness with the red dot on there. Try and put an AR mag in that. It's just at least a 30 round. It's going to be just a tad too long. This one with the Aimpoint Pro on it, the CMMG Mutant, give you guys an idea. Put a 30 round AK mag in there. It's going to be too long to close. Also with that on there, just something to keep in mind. If you have, if you're going to use one of these for grab and go for self-defense, you may want to stick a 20 round mag or have one handy if you're not going to grab one and pull it out. These are a couple of bins that are in here. These bins, and I put some along. I put one along the side here to show you guys, just to give you an idea of what you can do with it. It has a little divider in it. These are two bins that came from the thing from SecureIt Tactical. If I was going to spend money on accessories, what I would do is I would go down to local, Harbor Freight, Menards, probably even Walmart has these. And you can just buy these bins with the little clips on the back. They'll hang on anything, including these. Save yourself a couple bucks and instead spend that money on one of these pegs here, pistol pegs. Pistol peg is pretty cool. This will fit. I didn't try it on everything. The 22 is a little too small diameter to fit on this pistol peg. I don't know if they make smaller diameter ones, but anything else like 380, 9mm and up, you're not gonna have any problem on this. 32 ACP you could fit in here as well. Anyway, I would get these because these are pretty handy for hanging guns, especially if you have one that's going to be your go-to handgun and this is going to be a quick access safe. You can obviously put them in the panels like I did there. The lighting in here, I have you guys ask about lighting all the time. You see the lighting just came on, it's motion activated. This is a magnetic little thing. You can turn it on and off and automatic like it is now. So, you go in there, it turns on automatically. I can't remember the name of it. Key Live, I have no idea what, I don't know. I will put a link down below to where I got this. I think delivered, these things are like under 10 bucks. They could even be close to $5 delivered. They work really well. They work on a couple of AA batteries. If you turn it on and leave it on, it only lasts like a day. But on automatic mode, coming in and out of something, this thing will last you a couple of years before you have to change batteries. Those things are worth their weight in gold to have around. The mounting surface is magnet, but I don't want to get too far off topic, but I have tons of questions on this every time I do one of these videos on something like this. You can actually screw these and bolt these into something that has a little magnetic plate that mounts up with this, or it has a magnet on the back on its own, so you can just magnet it into the safe, anything that's metal. Like I said, I love those things. They are dirt cheap. I'll put a link down below. Oh, there you go. Like I said, you move these any configuration you want. The code-wise on the front, if you bolt a couple of these together, there's some really great options. Hopefully we can bring that to you in the future here, because there's a lot of different good ideas on why you may want a couple of these. And I hesitate to get into the whole discussion about safe versus cabinet, right? So there are a lot of companies that have a lot of reasons why safes are better, why cabinets are better, disadvantages of safes, disadvantages of cabinets, back and forth. I'm not going to get into that debate. You guys can do your own research. What I will get into is the practical applications of being able to have something that's just a touch over 100 pounds. So, and it's not the fact breaking it down. You can move this thing wherever you want, especially if you live in an apartment, something like that. The key aspect to one of these cabinets is going to be bolting it down. Once I get this where it's going, be bolting it. You can bolt it both to the floor and to the wall behind it. I will be doing both. And then if you wedge it into a corner, you can also bolt sides into things as well. So I'm going to wind up bolting this on three sides. So bottom, the back, and then a side. So this thing isn't going to be coming out easily at all. Now, obviously, you can pry. These are pry resistant, but anybody who's going to be coming in and bringing the proper tools, if they know, what's in the house, they're going to be bringing tools to break into things tougher than this. And at the same point, if you're cutting into one of these, there's plenty of videos online. You cut into the side. You don't attack the front and the bolts and stuff like that. You go through the side. I'm not giving away any trademark information here. There's articles, videos all over the place. If you're interested, go ahead and check some of those out. But somebody breaking in nowadays for, I know people say, oh, the Harbor Freight $25 axle grinder and a couple extra blades are going to get you into the side. Quite honestly, if it's a decent, well-made enough safe, you're going to have to step up a little bit in your power and your quality. You'll probably wind up spending closer to $100. Yeah, $100 gets you into 99% of the safes out there. That's where it is, if you know what you're doing and you come prepared. Either way, be it a cabinet, a safe, quote unquote, these are meant to buy you time for your alarm system, your security cameras. You do have motion activated push security cameras, right? At least one or two. So if somebody comes in the house, even if the alarm gets disabled, you push out either via backup cell phone, off-site hosting for these things, so that if something happens and you get that alert, your alarm alerts you that the signal was dropped because power went out. You call your neighbor, see if the power is out. You hit your mobile backup so you see what was the last thing your camera saw before they went dead, before the signal went out, if they also cut your internet. There's a bajillion different ways you can do this to make sure you know what's going on at all times in your home, which is one of the things that is integral to a home safety plan. I've had a lot of talk about this, and I think I probably need to get into an entire video about it. There are people far more educated about this than I am, but I've delved from all the experts that I could find to come up with that total security package so that you're hardening not just your doors, but every single aspect. That way, if somebody's coming in, there's so many different things that they're gonna have to trip up that not being able to notify you and or the police simultaneously is slim to none. And that's where it comes into, because at that point, time to break into one of these, by the time they move on to anything else, even the slowest police response time is gonna wind up catching them at that point. Anyway, I'm digressing at this point. Hopefully you found this informative. If you want to learn some more information about this, I'll have full links down below. Probably wind up doing some kind of article with some better pictures here, depending on how this final video turns out. And the lighting in here isn't extremely well for studio lighting for something like this. But thanks for bearing with us, everybody. We really appreciate it. Facebook.com/gun reviews, as well as we're over on full30.com. We've been getting strikes here on YouTube, so hopefully we don't get banned. Most of those get overturned. But anyway, thanks again, everybody. Take care. Swag shop down below if you want to support us. We're still not doing a Patreon right now. We appreciate your support. Definitely hit that like, share, and subscribe buttons. Take care.